Hey there, and welcome. You know that feeling, right? You're stuck in traffic, you see someone just weaving through all the cars, and you have two thoughts at once. Part of you is like, wow, look at them go. And the other part is just annoyed. Well, today, we're going to dive into a super simple car ride conversation that actually unpacks a massive idea: the unspoken rules of all the spaces we share.
So it all kicks off with this observation from a young woman named Kavya. She sees these three guys on a motorcycle just flying past everybody, and what she sees is pure freedom. She sees fun. And let's be real, who hasn't felt a little bit of that? That appeal of just breaking the rules and going for it.
But then, boom, her mom, Mama, comes in with this totally different take. That fun, it's not happening in a bubble. It has a cost. And that cost is being paid by everybody else on the road. And right there, in just those two sentences, you've got the core conflict we're looking at today: my personal fun versus our collective safety.
You know, this little scene is the perfect snapshot of a problem we all face pretty much every day. It doesn't matter if you're on a road, in a park, or even just scrolling online. The question is always there. When does one person's idea of freedom cross the line and become reckless for everyone else?
And this is where Kavya asks the simplest, but maybe the most important question of all. Why? It's one thing to say something is bad, but it's another thing entirely to understand the reason why. And that question, why, is our way into this whole idea of the ethics of sharing a space.
And here's Mama's first answer. The road, she says, isn't just a piece of pavement. It's a shared space. And when those guys treat it like their own personal racetrack, they're not just risking a fender bender with other cars. No, they're putting real people, actual families, in danger. Okay, so let's really get into this, because this next part is the key to the whole thing. To make her point about the road, Mama uses this brilliant analogy that we can all understand: our own home. So look, on the one hand, you've got shared spaces. Think of the road or your living room. These places need rules. They need to be orderly because lots of people use them and everyone needs to feel safe and comfortable. But then you have your private space, like your bedroom. You can let it get as messy as you want, right? Because it pretty much only affects you. We have to change how we act depending on the space we're in.
And this just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Mama makes it so personal. We all get it, instinctively. If a guest comes over and the living room is a total disaster, it makes them feel awkward and uncomfortable. Well, driving like a maniac on a shared road is the exact same principle. It just has much, much higher stakes.
So this gets us thinking about rules in general. It's really easy to see them as just a big list of don'ts, a bunch of things you're not allowed to do. But their real job is actually way more positive than that. Let's just lock this definition in. A shared space works because of one basic agreement: we can all use it as long as we don't hurt or endanger anyone else while we're doing it. That's it. The rules? They're just that agreement, written down so we all know what's expected. See? The rules aren't there to be the fun police. They exist to keep us all safe, to protect families, to make sure everyone gets a fair shot at using the space, and just to keep things from turning into total chaos. They're basically the blueprint for a society that actually works. Okay, but what happens when people decide they don't want to follow that social agreement? What happens when our own self-control just isn't enough? Well, that's when you need a system of enforcement. And right on cue, this story shows us exactly what that looks like. The motorcyclists' fun comes to a very sudden stop. Their actions have a real, immediate consequence, and it's being handed to them by a police officer. Now, this is a really interesting idea Mama brings up. She's basically saying that police are like a plan B. In a perfect world, if we all just respected the shared space and followed the guidelines, we wouldn't even need them. They exist because sometimes that social contract gets broken.
And this kind of flips the script on how we see this situation. That ticket isn't just about punishment. It's an act of protection. And not just for the other drivers, either. It's also for the people breaking the rules.
I mean, let that sink in for a second. By stopping them, that police officer might have literally prevented a horrible accident. He might have saved them from getting seriously hurt and saved their families from a world of pain and grief. When you look at it that way, enforcement is a kind of community care. So, does all this mean you can never get that adrenaline rush? You can never speed, never take a risk? Of course not. It's just about finding the right place and the right time to do it. And Kavya, still feeling for these guys, asks the most practical question you could ask. Okay, so if they can't do it here, where can they do it?
Because that desire for a thrill, that's a real human thing, and just saying no isn't a real solution.
And Mama's got the answer. There are places literally built for this stuff. You want speed? Go to a racetrack. You want to go crazy on a bike? Find an off-road trail. These are places designed for risk where everyone there has agreed to it, and you're not putting the unsuspecting public in danger.
So it really all boils down to this simple, responsible path. It's not about killing your desires. It's about recognizing what you want to do, finding the right place to do it, and then going for it, enjoying that freedom completely without messing things up for everyone else.
And that's what we want to leave you with. This whole idea, it's not just about traffic. Think about the quiet car on a train, a crowded supermarket aisle, or even a public park. All of these are shared spaces, and they all have their own unspoken rules. So the question for you is, after all this, which one are you going to see a little bit differently tomorrow?